I'm Cheche Suarez, and thank you for joining us today. In this episode, we're going to talk about mother tongue-based multilingual education, or MTB-MLE, and why it's of great significance to educators and learners in countries like the Philippines. Joining us today is Ms. Diane Dekker, who's going to share with us her expertise in the field. Welcome, Diane, and thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Diane, I'd like to ask you some questions to help our audience better understand the concept and context of MTB-MLE in the Philippines.
Yeah, sure.
So to start off, what exactly is MTB-MLE?
Basically, starting with the child's first language first and building on that, using that as a foundation from which children speak about the things that they understand in the world around them and understand and grapple with the lesson content of all the academic subjects that they're learning, helps them to internalize and to learn what they need to learn. When we start by teaching through a language that they're still in the process of learning, then children have a hard time understanding the concept of the lesson, and it actually makes it harder for them to learn the language because it's not meaning embedded. So starting with the foundation of what the children already know, their culture and their language and the things that they know about the world around them enables them then to learn the academic subjects of the school, and also it helps them to develop their first language as well as developing the second and the third languages.
All right, so in the context of education in the Philippines, how is MTB-MLE important?
Well, it's quite different from the original previous policy of bilingual education, because under the bilingual education, the focus was on the second language and developing the second language. And the first language was only allowed sort of as a crutch. And as soon as the teachers could throw that crutch away, then it was encouraged not to be a part of learning the lessons of the classroom and also learning the second language. But when that happens, it actually slows down the learning process. A lot of people make it through the system, but they would make it faster because when you build on what the child knows, they find it easier to integrate the things that they're learning, and they find it easier to understand the lessons of the teacher.
But you know what, Diane, there are claims actually that MTB-MLE is a legitimization of teaching practices that have already been in place in the country. How is that so?
In MTB-MLE, we value the first language as a learning resource, a learning tool, and we embed everything in using that first language. For example, one of the principles of MTB-MLE states that as much development as there is of the first language, that contributes directly to developing the second languages. So we want to start with what children know and how they can articulate their thoughts and let them interact with the material through that articulation. And that then will transfer to the second language as the second language is built up.
So this confusion or ambiguity is probably coming from the kind of curriculum that we're more familiar with, that most of us are more familiar with. Can you help us understand the difference between MTB-MLE programs and the mainstream programs?
Right. So in the mainstream programs, actually the end result or the goal, the aim is to produce strong second language and third language speakers, right, who are globally competent. The same ends and aims are part of the MTB-MLE. It's only how we get there. So for mother tongue-based multilingual education, our aim is still to produce strong, multilingual, multiliterate, and multicultural graduates who have global competence and can use their growing knowledge and skills, both linguistic and academic, to meet any aims that they set for themselves to be globally competent. It's just how we get there that we're starting from a different point. So rather than starting from the second language, we're starting from the first language and we're going step by step toward the same end goals: global competence in multiple languages and multiple cultures and multiple literacies as well.
I definitely agree with you, Diane, especially that research says that mastery of the first language can actually be correlated to learning. So can you help our teachers understand how a learner's mastery of his or her first language can contribute to his or her overall learning?